Moto Ikebana to our September 2021 school year. This marks the beginning of our 20th anniversary, which is in November of this year. So thanks for joining us. And today we're going to get excited about the cultural feature of the bird of paradise and the colors orange and blue. And that's my inspiration for us and for you today. So let me just share with you a little bit about the bird of paradise. The meaning of the bird of paradise is obvious: paradise and freedom and joy. It's best known for its orange and blue color, but some varieties do grow in white. And for those of you who are a Georgia O'Keeffe painting fan, you may recall her painting of the white bird of paradise. Bird of paradise are closely related to the banana plant, and you can see the similarities by the foliage. Now, the reason we're not using the foliage today is because it's just easier to leaf manipulate a different leaf. These are so stiff and so hard to manipulate. They last about 1 to 2 weeks, but they are toxic to cats and dogs. The bloom time is from May to October, and they resemble a bird in flight. Each bud contains 3 orange petals and 3 blue petals. All right, and then I'd like to also highlight our cultural feature, because these grow in Okinawa, Japan. This class today will be in memory of Ruth Takeuchi, who used to be one of my students, and several of you may remember Ruth. And she was born in Okinawa. So, how many people, and so we talked about the orange of the bird, now we're going to talk about the color blue. How many of you maybe know that there are 5 blue zones in the world? A blue zone is a place where there are centenarians, and they are lots of them living there. Here are the 5 places: Icaria, Greece; Sardinia, Italy; Nicoya, Costa Rica; Loma Linda, California; and Okinawa, Japan. So let me share with you a few things that the Okinawans are known for and help with their longevity. The first thing is that they embrace ikigai. That means they have a life with purpose. They have clear roles of responsibility and feelings of well-being, or of being needed well into their hundreds. They eat a plant-based diet. They eat lots of stir-fried vegetables, sweet potatoes, tofu, and soy. They make gardening a daily source of physical activity, giving them a wide range of motion for the body. They maintain a mowai, which is their community or support group. It's their financial and emotional support. And these people help reduce stress, knowing that there is someone there in an emergency. Sunshine. They get lots of vitamin D, which builds healthy bones and a strong body. They stay active. They walk, they garden, and their homes, in typical traditional Okinawan homes, have very little furniture indoors. So they're used to getting down and sitting on a tatami mat and rising. So they're moving their knees and their bones all the time, and that helps build lower body strength. They have a saying that I'd never heard, because it's said in Okinawa: hara hachibu. Hara hachibu means eat until you're only 80% full. And this is recited before every meal. And I think this is a delightful saying. And they have an attitude to let the difficult years remain in the past while enjoying the simple pleasures of today. They like to be around young people, and they keep them in their company well into their old age. So these are things that we could also embrace to help us live a long and healthy life. All right, now I just want to share our devotion with you. So if you look on your drawing, if you have a drawing, look on your drawing, and I have the scripture there for you. This devotion is by Joyce Myers. It's called The Power of Being Thankful. And the title of this devotion is 4 Keys to Success. So the scripture is from 1 Samuel 18:14. And it said, David acted wisely in all his ways, and he succeeded, and the Lord was with him. Now I think this relates to the Okinawans. So there are 4 keys to success in any endeavor you undertake. If these character traits and habits become part of your routine, they'll enable you to move toward the success that you long for. The first one, commitment. Without commitment, people give up easily and they have no staying power. Number 2, determination. Determination enables us to achieve goals and pursue dreams that may seem impossible. 3, waiting on the Lord. When success does not come easily, many times we need to stop and wait for the Lord and find our strength in Him. And the fourth thing is be refreshed and renewed. We all need extended times of restoration and renewal to prepare us for new challenges ahead. So examine your life and ask yourself if you need to improve in any of these areas. And most of all, be thankful that you don't have to do any of these things on your own, because God is with you. And as you seek Him, He will give you the commitment, the determination, the ability to wait on Him, and the renewal that you need to succeed. We are going to do a Kakubana classical upright form. And we are going to be using tea leaves, spelled T-I. And we're using these because they're easier to leaf manipulate. We're actually going to roll them and curl them. Let me just pull up a couple leaves here with some tape so you can see. What we're going to do is we're going to take Scotch tape. If you have U-glue, you can use that also. But you want to be sure when you use U-glue that once you put it on there, it's very sticky and hard to get off. So I would highly recommend using just the everyday Scotch tape. And I'm going to make sure that your leaf is dry and clean and not wet so that the tape will stick. We're actually going to fold the leaf in on itself, and we're going to curl it, and we're going to rub on that tape so that the top and the bottom of the tape will stick to the leaf and it won't show. So each of these leaves are pretty much the same length. So basically you're going to measure, when your leaf is fully open, 2 times the width and 1 time the height. Or if it's too short, you're just going to give it a fresh cut at the bottom, and you're going to place in the back of your kenzan. If you divide visually your kenzan into half, where you have a line going north and south in your kenzan, you're going to place it 3/4 of the way to the back in that center line, and that's going to be your heaven line, and it's going to look toward the man. Then you're going to curl and do the same thing, only maybe make your curl go the opposite direction, and you're going to make your man be 3/4 of the height of the heaven line. Okay, when we get to the final line, we're going to use these tea leaves as both heaven, man, and earth. So we're going to use all the placements. Now in classical design, we use the word tai for heaven, yo for man, but we changed the name here. Instead of fuku, we use the word tome, and this is much lower, and it's more of a 1/4 of heaven, or a 1/4 of the tai of the heaven line. Now to get your leaf to work, you're going to actually roll it the opposite way. You're going to roll this one to the back, and you're going to tape it. But then you're going to take your scissors, and you're actually going to cut the leaf till you get to the vein, and then you're going to pull the rest of that leaf off. Then you're going to flip it because you're going to have the point or the tip of the leaf towards your body. Then you're going to take your scissors and sculpt it to make it thinner, and then do the same procedure on that side, and then you're going to cut it. And that is going to be your low placement. It doesn't touch the container, it's low in the design. So you'll have heaven, man, and earth, or tome. And that forms a nice triangle. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you get the bird to be open out of the pod. This is the pod, and this is the calyx that surrounds the pod. And you can see a lot of times it's red around the calyx. And you're going to take your fingernail, you're going to pry up that calyx and get your thumb inside of the pod, and you're going to try to wiggle your, I have to get both sides first without breaking a petal off of my bird. So let me get my thumbs in there so I'm not ripping a petal. Okay, once you get your both thumbs in the pod, you pull it apart, open it up, and then keep sliding your thumbs down the pod. At the same time, you're using your fingernail to poke up or pry up those little birds. You're going to take the little birds out of the nest or out of the womb, and we're going to go all the way to the end until all the bird petals are out from the pod. But we're not going to pull them up fully. We're only going to pull out the top bird because you still have more birds underneath. Every successive bird will be lighter in color than the one before it. So the most colorful is the first one to come out. Then you're going to place in your bird of paradise, and these are very heavy, thick stems, and you will kind of hear a ka-chunk when they go into the kenzan. And you'll place those from behind, but at a slight angle so that the part of the middle of the bird, if you had a plumb line or a water drip line, would come down and eventually would touch the middle of your kenzan. So that is above heaven. And let me just read. Now I know this represents heaven, but let me give you a scripture for this bird. This is from Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who by the power at work within us is able to do far more abundantly than all we can ask or think. And that's what heaven can do for us. Far more abundantly than we can even ask or think. And this should be so encouraging. So when you see this, heaven can do more than we can ask or think. All right? So that's the encouragement for you today, is this placement. And then the final bird, you're going to pop it out just like you did the other one, and you're going to have it hover above the leaf. Not touching the leaf, just hovering above the leaf. Okay, now, the last items you're going to use are solidago. And solidago are a beautiful line material, and we're going to separate them and have each one, we're going to take them off and we're going to group them, a couple in the front and some in the back. Now, solidago does not hold up very long. So we're going to take your thumb and forefinger and slide to get rid of all of those leaves that are on the bottom of the solidago. And then you're actually going to meticulously take off all the leaves. And you might even, as you take off the leaves, be thankful for something. Thankful you can see. Thankful you can breathe. Thankful you can touch things. Thankful you can eat and taste food. Thankful for whatever it is. And take all of that off. Then when you get them all done, place them on the inside, depending on your shape of your arrangement, maybe 2 or maybe 3, and then place some in the back. And I'm going to turn this sideways so that you can see that I have a line. Oh, here, I'm going to do it this way. like this so you can see it all. I have a line or even a triangle of the gold solidago following through the arrangement, just coming through the design. And it flares in the back so that I have depth. My back is not flat, it's a sculpture, so we're going to address the back, and to do that we're going to place the solidago in the back to give depth and dimension. And then we are finished with our arrangement. So enjoy Kakubana classical tropical upright form today. You have a bird of paradise that is a very curved stem. It may not be very good in the design where it wants to fall over. So you have two options. Use the cut stem from your baby bird, your small bird here on the earth. Use that stem and poke and prop it around to splint that one so that it won't fall over. The other answer to that problem is to take a small kenzan, turn it upside down and counterbalance it. So you can have a counterbalance by taking the pins and connecting the pins from this one to the pins of your kenzan, and that will counterbalance the weight so that it won't fall over. So those are two tips for addressing a difficult bird of paradise.